There comes a moment when the life you've been living no longer fits, not because it's falling apart, not because something dramatic happened, but because something inside of you, quietly, unmistakably, has changed. And once that shift happens, once you begin to see yourself more clearly, you can't unknow it. You can't go back to the comfort of pretending. You could try, but it won't feel the same because now you've met yourself. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Soul Talk podcast. I'm really excited that you're here today. I'm Mary Beth Rim. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a coach. I'm a runner. And I'm someone who deeply believes that healing isn't about fixing yourself. It's about returning to yourself. And today, we're closing out our week 12 journey of the Living Unmasked series. And I want to take a moment before we go any further, because if you've been walking through this series with me, whether from the beginning or you found your way here somewhere in the middle, I want you to pause and acknowledge something. You didn't just listen. You showed up. You were willing to look at yourself, question your patterns, feel things you may have avoided for years. That matters. And if this space has supported you in any way, I'd love for you to subscribe, share, or send it to someone who might need it. Because this work, it grows through connection. So what have you actually done in these last 12 weeks? So let's take a breath here together. Just breathe in and a long exhale out. Now, I want you to reflect, not on what you still need to fix, but on what you've already begun to shift. Because here's what I know about you if you've stayed with this series. You've started to notice where you disappear in your own life. You become aware of the roles you play, the masks you wear, the ways you've learned to adapt, perform, or protect. And maybe, just maybe for the first time, you didn't judge yourself for it. You just simply noticed. That alone is powerful, because awareness is where everything begins. You can't change what you can't see. And now you see more. So what have you learned? Let's take a look at that. So over these 12 weeks, you've learned things that go far beyond surface level growth. You've learned that your patterns make sense. They weren't random. They were protective. They were your way of navigating life with the tools that you had. Your body has always been communicating with you. It communicates through tension, through exhaustion, through that quiet yes, or that deep resistance. And maybe for the first time, you started listening to your body. Also, Not everything that feels familiar is aligned. So sometimes what feels normal is just what you've been conditioned to accept. You're allowed to change, even if even if that makes other people uncomfortable, and it will. When you change, it will definitely make people uncomfortable, and that's okay. Even if it shifts relationships, even if it means stepping into the unknown, because you don't need to earn your authenticity. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to perfect it. It's not about perfection. Everything what we've done and learned here is all about progress. There's no such thing as perfection because it's already yours. And maybe most importantly, you've learned that the voice inside of you, the quiet one, the one that doesn't shout, is actually the most honest one you have. So why continuing listening to this matters? Because this is the part I really want to slow down for you. Because this is where so many people stop because they have awareness, they have the insight, and then they go back to the old patterns, back to the familiar roles, back to what feels easiest in the moment. Not because they failed, but because continuing requires courage. And not the loud, dramatic kind, but the quiet kind. The kind that looks like saying no when it would be easier to say yes. Speaking honestly when silence feels safer. Resting when your old identity says, keep pushing. And trusting yourself without needing external validation. Because that's huge. Continuing means choosing yourself over and over again. And here's the truth. If you don't continue, you don't lose what you've learned, but you lose your relationship with it. Because it becomes something you know, but not something you live. And that gap between knowing and living, that's where frustration lives. That's where disconnection returns. That's where people start to feel like, why do I know all of this, but nothing is changing? Because insight without integration, that doesn't transform your life. And I don't really believe in transformation anyways. It's progress. Because it's the practice that does. It's the practice that keeps you going, that keeps you in the know. This is a practice. Every single day practice. And there is a discomfort of becoming. So let's be honest about something. Becoming your authentic self, it's not always comfortable, and it certainly isn't glamorous. There will be moments where you question yourself. You feel uncertain. You wonder if you're doing it right. There will be moments where the old version of you just feels easier, more accepted, much more predictable. And in those moments, you're going to be asked the question, do I go back to what's familiar or do I stay with what's true? That's the practice. That's the work. That's what living unmasked really is. So for me, this work continues to unfold in real time. I mean, even recently, I started to change my life. I actually started to take, at my age, started to take hormone replacement therapy. I've had to listen to my body in a deeper way and try not to override what I feel, to not dismiss changes, to trust what my body is communicating. And something important, and that's what this whole journey has been about. Not becoming someone new, but learning how to stay connected to myself as I continue to evolve. And we all evolve. And that's where the practice is. That's where listening to your body is. So here's an invitation to continue this work. So here's what I want to leave you with. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stay in relationship with yourself, to keep listening, to keep noticing, to keep choosing alignment over performance. Because this isn't the end of your journey. This is where it actually begins. And if you've made it here, you're ready for what comes next. Because in the next series, what starts next week, we're going to move beyond awareness and into embodiment, into what it actually looks like to trust yourself in real time. Make decisions without overthinking. Live in alignment, not just understand it. Because knowing who you are is super powerful. But living as that person, that's what changes everything. So if this series has supported you, stay with me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share it with somebody who needs to be here. Continue this work with me. Because the life you're stepping into deserves the real you. Until next time, I'm Mary Beth Rim.